The views, information, and opinions expressed during the following program are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent the views of Access Communications, its representatives, or its employees.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular council meeting of September 8th, 2025. We'll bring this meeting to order. No presentations up. First up, we have a motion to adopt the agenda. We do have a change to add the presentation by the Meadows, by Essex and Verity, which would go to 2C. Do we have a motion to accept that? Councillor Elliott, second by Councillor Mouse. Questions, comments? All in favor? Carried. They will be at 2C, City Clerk. Can we have a motion to approve the minutes of the last council meeting held August 11th? Councillor Veroba, second by Councillor Johnson. Questions, comments on it? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Original communications, delegations, and petitions. Up first, the GFL CART report for July 2025. Do we have a motion to accept this? Councillor Waleser, second by Councillor Mouse. Questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Municode appointment, updated members. Who is our person again there? Sorry, City Manager?
Matthew Stepp's the local rep.
Matthew Stepp is our local rep. So do we have a motion to accept the Municode appointments? Councillor Veroba, Councillor Johnson, any questions, comments? All in favor? Carried. Up next, the present, Councillor Waleser.
I'd like to declare a conflict.
Okay. Councillor Waleser will be leaving the room.
Councillor Waleser, isn't it the Southeast Transportation Plan?
No, we added.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were adding that after.
Yep, so come on up, turn the microphone on, and the floor is yours.
Hello, City Council. I want to start by thank you for allowing us to be added to the agenda. It was just a misunderstanding between ourselves and Richard as we thought we were on there, so I do appreciate you guys allowing us to be added. Just to present our proposal and what we've added in this, and it's actually an amendment to our initial proposal. After our open house, the first council presentation and the discussion there surrounding that, we're looking at basically bringing it down and just looking at rezoning only the 7 lots of the 25 from the corner of Sister Roddy Road to Wellick. The first 7 starting from Sister Roddy Road going down Wellick towards the cemetery. So it's just those first 7. The rest would remain R1 zoning. We are not interested or looking at rezoning those lots. These lots are directly across from the city water building, as well as directly in the line of where the STARS helicopter kind of goes through. We feel these 7 lots, we're still looking at rezoning these ones, as we do not feel that if we keep these as R1 that they would sell with these. People won't want to build directly across from that water treatment plant, or not treatment plant, sorry, the water pump house facility, as well as that STARS facility. And that we would be able to utilize these lots as there's still a need for these higher end rentals, and a need sooner than later than that current R4 that is zoned right directly behind the R1s, as we are a few years away from us being able to truly develop that in coordination with the city, as the discussions at the last council, where we need that new trunk line, we need the sewer line and the sewer system sorted out. And kind of some of the, there was conversations kind of had at that last council that we have done our background research. This was not something, and I didn't do as great of a job presenting that, but we did do our background research on that. We also did have the community plan that was laid out. We did have that going through. These are some of the items that we had put work into beforehand through the residential development. The bottom left is a water sewer assessment that we did ourselves, as well as the top one are the actual zoning lots of those 25 lots. So it was something that we did do our due diligence on, and I just did not do a good job at articulating that and presenting that to not only the community, but also to council. But what we are looking at, this is what we are looking at presenting, is just these two buildings. They are still the 12 plexes. They are still the same design, the same what we were looking at previously, but keeping to just the two buildings as there is still that need. We still feel that there is a need for full 7 buildings, but we understand, and in that area, those lots directly across from the other houses, they would prefer to keep them as an R1. So we would look at putting those remaining ones in that already zoned R4 as we kind of, in the few years, as we do know that through our market research that it is a needed rental there. So these are just the site plan. Oh, sorry, if you could just go back. So these are the actual site plans we adjusted accordingly. We worked with our architect, and so that the one road on the left is Sisterati Road. The road on the bottom is Wellick, and you can kind of see the little bump out. That is the location of that little jut-in parking area for the pump where the water facility is. So you can kind of get an idea of its placement, and then there will be a lane access beside the second building that would go up into that back parking area. So that would be its in and out, as the rest of those lots are obviously R1, and we do not want to have them driving all the way back behind everyone's parking just to try and get to these this parking area. We did do a survey after the last council on Facebook. And there was about 127 votes cast. Most show about that the majority are in the budget range of under 300,000. This is what we expected. And as you can see, it kind of goes up to the 300 to 450, 450 to 600, and then it just craters after the 600. And this is kind of what we were trying to, our challenge here with single family. After kind of extensive research of different models, working with different, talking with different RTM companies, not just the one here in town, but also other ones throughout Saskatchewan and Manitoba, your average RTM cost would be about that $250, $285, somewhere in there, depending on your grade of finishes and square footage. But then you're adding in your land costs, permits, trades, foundations, insurance, overheads, all those challenges, and we'd be into that cost of between $560 and $650. And this is also assuming a lot on Wellick costing about $50,000, which takes into basically consideration of the development levies that we have to pay to the city. And then you add in a profit margin, because that's at a cost, plus the taxes, because it's brand new, and we are then pushing well above that $600,000 of where people are in a market of buying a house. We are looking at still trying to solve that problem, but that's not for here, but we're gonna leave that R1 and we'll look at trying to solve those R1 challenges for those lots that we are wanting to remain as an R1. And the last one is just a rendering of what we kind of have proposed there. We didn't put in the pump house. Now there are the houses kind of there in the top center. That would actually be the daycare. The architect just kind of dropped in houses, but those that you'd see there, that would be the daycare. So that would be kind of your rendering. So we wanted to try and show what we'd be looking at, what the building would be looking like. It's not a it's not a Harvest Heights, it's not a budget-friendly rental that we're just slapping up here. We are aiming to put in a good quality building here for higher ends, because you cannot rent higher end without being in the right area and with the quality of materials and finishes. So that is what I have this morning, or this evening. Sorry, it's been a long day.
Feels like the morning.
It does. And so again, I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to present this amended proposal for this rezoning.
Excellent, thank you for that. Do we have any questions or comments?
Accept the reports.
Do you need a motion to accept? We have a motion to accept the report as presented. Councillor Johnson, Councillor Elliott, seconded. Questions or comments? Councillor Elliott?
Thank you, Your Worship. Oh, yeah, that. Thank you, Your Worship. I actually appreciate you guys doing this, changing your plans like that. I wasn't big on making apartments the face of the new neighborhood, despite all the wonderful taxes we'd be getting from you. But I think this is actually a good move, a good switch, and take it from here and then going north with further apartments. I think you've hit on to something I think could be a success here.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other questions, comments? Councillor Verba?
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you for coming to your presentation. So when we talked last time, we were talking about community engagement. Did you host any community engagement since our last meeting?
No, we did not. We were working at trying, we did hear a lot of the feedback that we really did feel that through Facebook comments, through what was shared here, we did have some one-on-one conversations, and so we put basically, we needed to put all of our effort into getting a good adjusted plan, and then by the time we kind of had enough information, again, it would have been a rushed open house, which was the problem with the last open house as well. We didn't feel that was it would be a certain kind of a cycle thing. We did have some one-on-one communication with different individuals, but no, we did not do another open house.
Okay, so I'm just curious, because the drawing that you showed up there and the drawing I'm looking at here doesn't actually show any access points on here. So is there a way that you could bring that drawing back up and then highlight where the access points would be?
Yeah, yes, so which one would be the
That's
best?
the one I'm looking at right now.
The best one would be if you actually go to the last page, the very last page there. So it is tricky to that at the very top left corner there, which is just the edge of the parking, that it will actually be fully extended all the way to we'd be looking to get that fully extended with an approach onto Wellick Road.
So that would be coming out basically exactly where the drop-off point would be for the kids at the daycare.
Correct, yes, yeah.
Okay. So there is a recommended traffic study. In that traffic study, is that your company that pays for that traffic study prior to this happening, or is that a question I need to ask Richard Newfield?
That would be a question for Richard.
Okay. And then is there an access point off Sister Roddy Road?
Off of Sister Roddy Road, no. we cannot, we'd have to do a whole crossing that, right on that back area, there's a whole bunch of, that's where all the utilities come in on that corner. So coming across onto Sister Roddy Road wouldn't.
Is that suitable for fire code that would only have one entrance?
If our lane is wide enough, I'm talking with Richard as well as the fire department, we'd have to adjust accordingly. But from what I've looked at in the past and have chatted with Richard on is as long as we've got the width for them to be able to turn around, to make their curves, to basically have, if they're coming this way, it's not a one-way width.
Right.
That they'd be able to cycle around, and if there's basically no bollards would be down that whole front lane across against a building. So it would basically, you'd have a big O, that your lane in, your O and out.
Okay, and then the other thing is, on there, that's asphalt, is what you're planning
Yes.
to use for the pavement parking.
Yes.
When is your projected start date on this, if everything went as you projected?
We wouldn't be, there's a lot of other aspects, even if we put forth this, we still have to do a changing of the lots, because we have to amalgamate some lots together, so that would have to come again before council. So we'd be talking a spring start on this.
Okay, and prior to seeking occupancy on these buildings, you would actually pave or asphalt that parking lot?
We would have to have a hard surface on it to basically to meet our drainage, our drainage plan that we would put together with for civil that engineering would have to sign off on. We have to meet a certain drainage. The only way we can achieve that properly is with a hard would be with a hard surface, whether that be asphalt or concrete. So just the hard surface. It can't be gravel.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
Councillor Johnson?
Just a few questions, and it's regarding the, off of Wellick Road, you need a lane to get into your back lane at these multifamily dwellings. You asked for 7 lots to be taken up with 2 multifamily units. That lane, is that encompassing that lane into your plans too?
Yes, that would include everything within our lots.
Okay.
Yeah.
Within those 7 lots?
Correct.
Okay. So when I look at those 7 lots and where it ends essentially right where all the workers turn in to go into the hospital in that parking lot. So that's even before the gas shack. So it's not really close to where the
daycare.
The daycare is situated, and it's
a bit closer to Sister Roddy than the daycare.
right. Yeah, so I pasted out yesterday, and like I say, you mentioned that it's facing directly pretty much right into the openness there of the water reserve. Right?
It's a bit closer to the cemetery than that water, like where the lane is coming in, you mean?
Sorry, you lost me.
Maybe I'm not following your question.
I'm saying from Sister Roddy Road.
Yep.
From the stop sign.
Yep.
I count 7 lots.
Okay.
7 water shutoffs, if you want to call them, to go into those 7 lots. And where that 7 lot ends, you're going to be putting 2 of the multifamily units there, plus a lane that's going to take you into the back parking.
Correct.
Those multifamily lots. You're not going to be asking for an 8th parcel of property or anything. You're not going to be impacting the sale of any of those properties along there.
No.
It's just 7
lots, yeah.
7 lots.
So if on your drawings there, it'd be page 3 on the site plan, you can kind of see where that second building is in relation to along those along that.
Yep.
So then your lane way
Right.
would basically be right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right on the east end,
Yeah.
on that side. Yeah, correct. Understandable. And I did mention to you tonight earlier about the electrical requirements out back, and you said that you've already talked to SaskPower and they're able to fit them into the scope of the project?
We've engaged them to have an understanding, because for our feasibility of the power, there's obviously going to be a cost to adjust accordingly to work with these buildings. So we did talk with SAS Power, and we have kind of stayed up in the higher ups just because it's just prelim, because we needed to account for any additional costing associated with for our feasibility study of these units. Okay. So we do have that plan in place with SAS Power to adjust as necessary for those at our cost.
Okay. And I do follow up with what Councillor Elliott was mentioning. I do like seeing it scaled back considerably, not having just that large row of multifamily units along Wellick Road. I do like this plan much better. It sits with me much better, so we'll see what happens here this evening.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments out there? Seeing none, we just need a vote to accept the report. All in favor? Carried. Just accepted the presentation there, yeah. Up next, written reports, Southeast Transportation Planning Committee minutes. Oh, yes. We can bring in Councillor Weleser, please. At least she gets a break in between. Welcome back, Councillor Weleser. Written reports of committee, Southeast Transportation, minutes of August 2025. Do we have a motion? Councillor Johnson, seconded by...
I'll make that motion.
Seconded by Councillor Verova. Questions, comments, anything to add? Councillor Johnson?
Just like to report that all the work with truck route bypass, the sealing has been completed. The painting has been completed, the line painting up and around the bypass. You might notice a little bit of pebbly rocks at intersections. That's going to be left. It's not going to be swept off. I've asked for that. That's typical of what that surface has been repaired at, to that degree. Those little flags that you see on the highway, they're going to be left. So that's the highway. The truck route bypass has been completed. They're still working on the Highway 18 going out towards Outram, and that's still under heavy construction, so they hope to have that done later this fall.
Excellent.
Okay, that's my report.
Excellent, thank you. Any other questions, comments out there? Seeing none, all in favor to accept the Southeast report? Carried. Up next, executive reports. An engineering tender for the back alley or back lane upgrade and rehabilitation for 4th Street and 1200 block. The recommendation is it to be awarded to Turnbulls. We had two tenders come in here. Turnbull for $428K and Sector 1 for $358K. The background and why they're recommending Turnbull is just the Sector 1 was rejected just if there was a few things incomplete. They needed more for the tender, so we are recommending that the tender go to Turnbull Excavating for $428K. Do we have a motion to accept this tender? Councillor Weleser, seconded by Councillor Mouse. Questions, comments? Councillor Johnson?
With the drawings and the information, that's all with engineering right now. So if I had any questions or concerns, I could go see Kafloon, the city engineer, and just ask.
Yeah, absolutely, Councillor Johnson's. All the designs have been done by Landworks Engineering and has been reviewed by our engineering as well, and we have copies of those, so if you have any questions, you can come ask myself or Kafloon.
Thank you very much.
Councillor Weleser.
Thank you, Your Worship. Do we have a timeline from Turnbull on when this project is going to be starting?
Thank you, Councillor. From my understanding, this is to be completed in this construction season. That was part of the bid process. I will confirm with Landworks, but from my understanding, that would be occurring very soon.
Thank you. And that will release a traffic plan for the community with restricted access both to the front and back of the businesses.
Yeah, Councillor Walliser, once the contractor's determined, they'll have to provide all their service provider agreements and follow all the safety plans that are required by the city.
Thank you.
Excellent. Any other questions, comments out there? Seeing none. All in favor? Carried. Up next, Water Services Manager. After hours plugged sewer report. Matt, you want to come on up and give us a little rundown of what we're looking at?
Good evening. Thank you, Your Worship. So the after-hours plugged sewer report, just doing a little bit of background on it. So there's nothing in our bylaws that state that they have to go out after hours for this one free auger to people's residents. And we're finding that a lot of after hours is happening, which is costing quite a bit of money for these overtime calls for the water and sewer crew to go out on. So just to help cut back on these after hours, because my crews spend a lot of overtime doing road work and call-outs for water breaks and things like that. So just being able to give them that time off that they kind of deserve, because it's a lot of extra hours that, you know, could be pushed off to the next morning or during business hours. Or if it's, if the resident is finding it that they need it done that night, maybe phoning a plumber to get them to come out and do it. The free augers, I think, when where they were put in for the bylaws as a one free auger a year, I think that was mostly meant to be during our business hours, not after hours. It seems to eat up a lot of our time and people as well. So it costs quite a few. It's not just a one-person job. You normally always have to have two people to carry the equipment, and into a lot of these residents have smaller basements, so it's hard to get down with just one person. So it's definitely two people that have to go in after hours and do this. So. Okay.
Questions? Councillor Gruba?
Thank you, Worship. Thanks, Matt, for the report. I totally understand. I think I agree with you. The free one should be done during regular business hours. My concern is sometimes if someone's trying to phone a plumber, you don't always get the plumber calling you back right away. Is there a way, or are you interested at all in a way that we could look at having an after-hours charge so that we don't offer the free auger after hours, but in the event that a homeowner cannot get a plumber and our staff can go out, is there an after-hour charge that we could make known, and so people would know what they would be paying if they called?
Yes, thank you, Councillor. So definitely something that we can look into. It would, I believe that right now when someone doesn't get a free auger and they do phone in after hours, it's upwards of between $500 and $600 for them to get called out for an evening or a weekend. So it's definitely something that we could look at instead of doing the free auger. It's, hey, we can give you, we can come out, but it's going to be an additional charge because our free augers should be during business hours.
So could I make the motion then that we table this for tonight and have you ask that you go back and figure that cost out and then come back? Because I would also like to make part of that recommendation that we do not offer this service after hours at a free cost, because that's quite costly in the budget as well. And then maybe the next time it comes, then we can pass it with that extra added cost on there.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Motion. Do we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Walliser, questions, comments? Seeing none. Oh, Councillor Johnson.
Clarification or question. With the recommendation that you're making, Councillor Baroba, back to Matt, if you search this out and come up with a price, you're still losing your workers the next day anyway, or your crew is still being, you know, if they got to go out for a larger break or something else fails, you're trying to prevent that. By enhancing this idea, you're willing to work along so that they may still go out and they still may be lost and not in your department the next day. So I see there's still a problem, and you brought the problem to us tonight. And I think it has to be addressed with the property owners if they have a plug sewer, and it can't be done in the working hours, that we allow them one free unplug a year, that they're going to have to get a plumber. If we're bringing city crew out, city workers out, we're still on the losing end, Councillor Baroba, to this.
I guess it depends on how you look at it. I mean, if it's not feasible, you can't do it, then we wouldn't send a crew out. If right now we're doing it anyways, then I think it's actually a way that the water and sewer division would actually make revenue in their department.
Sorry, Councilor Rowe, but we've already made revenue. We've basically $12,000 to the extent of, that's how much money it's costed us.
That's not revenue.
No, but in a sense, the people that go out there, the workers that have to go out there, they're making that money. They're making that revenue.
No.
We're paying the city crews to go out there and do this work.
Yeah.
I'm just saying we're on the losing end. If we're going to have our city crews, our water and sewer crews, which we're going to need for bigger breaks, bigger items, and if they're going to be going out there and still being able to do this, I think if we set it up that they can possibly do it, I think it's going to confuse not only the public, it's going to confuse the workers, and we're going to be back here talking about it again.
So my recommendation, Mr. Johnson, is that we...
Councillor Johnson, sorry.
Councillor Johnson, that we actually go back and table this for him to go back and take a look at it. Then he'll bring that back, and then at that time, we can debate this subject. But right now, he's just going to go look into it. That's my recommendation. You don't have to vote in favor of it. You can vote against.
We have a
That's all you
motion.
need.
We have a seconder. Any other questions, comments on this? Councillor Elliott?
Thank you, Your Worship. I would just ask, maybe with the information you bring back to us, tell us the frequency, maybe the percentage of them that are done weekends or evenings, and give us a better idea of just how much extra stress we're putting on the workers.
Yeah, I can absolutely do that. I can work that in there as well. And I think a lot of the times when people phone in and find out the after hours amount to come in, that it's actually deters them from wanting to even, they'll normally just wait till the next business day because it's less than half the cost for us to come out.
Great. Councillor Johnson?
One question I do have, Mayor Cernick, and it has to deal with these plug sewers. There must be problem areas in the city of Estevan where it's the same homeowner, it's the same residents, it's the same area, and encouraging them, maybe it's time to take a look at a dig. Maybe they have to put in a new pipeline that goes out from the street into the house. Maybe that's the solution. Maybe there's enough trees that they got on their property. The roots are actually, you can get them out this time, and it's good for another year, and then they have to go back and get those tree roots out again. Things like that, right? So there must be areas, and if you fill that out and bring us back that report, I'm sure all these addresses, will be same calls to these residents, right? Okay, Matt?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Johnson. Absolutely. A lot of the times what's happening is we replace our sides of the sewer on the city side, and a lot of the frequent callers that may not be able to afford these sewer replacements aren't replacing their side, so they'll get us once a year to come and clean it, and sometimes they just call and just do a routine auger. They're not even plugged. But it's these ones that are continuously calling every year to get these done because they either can't afford to get their side done or they have problems in their side already and they just haven't been able to get it replaced. So most of the time our side has been completed, and if it isn't, it is on the list for the next year. So we normally have it set aside that we do between 25 sewer replacements every year for services that our side needs to be done, and we normally try and work it in that the homeowners let known that we're going to do our side, and that's a smaller additional cost because we're already there to try and get it done at the same time. So
Okay. Any other questions, comments out there? Seeing none, all in favor? Okay, carried. We'll see you on the 22nd. Thank you for that. Water quality report for August 2025. Do we have a motion to accept this? Councillor Johnson, second by Councillor Mouse. Questions, comments? All in favor?
Just one question.
One question. Councillor Johnson.
Matt, this big project that we put in budget for the water treatment plant, or the water tower for the valves for the south side of the city, that project is going to be done this fall. Like, I mean, we're looking at, there's a bunch of valving that needs to be changed. There's 2 pumps that need to be changed. You got all the parts, all the materials, right? In-house?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor. So for the Smith Street capital project, it's being split up over this coming fall and winter to next spring, and it looks like a start date of in November sometime, and then we'll continue on until about the end of May. We will be utilizing the water tower still and just be shutting down the Smith Street reservoir itself so that we can replace the pumps and all the piping inside along with the MCC electrical system because it's very outdated and showing its age.
Okay, so it's going to be involved in 2026. Okay, thank you. Good. Thanks.
Great. Next, that was water quality. We voted on that, right? Land development, North Wellick. Oh, sorry, Councilor Leeser.
I'd like to declare a conflict.
Okay. Councilor Leeser, we leave it in the chamber. Land development, North Wellick Road, proposed revision. Richard, the microphone is yours. Can you add anything that we kind of haven't heard tonight?
Thank you, Your Worship and Council. I guess first to start off, since I did the report in the last couple hours, two email, or earlier today and then after 4:30, two submissions were received on our email servers. I believe the city clerk has those so that those can be read into the minutes during the hearing. For myself, yes, I put a report in based on this new proposal. The new public hearing here has been advertised in accordance with our legislation, and as of September 3rd, there were no written comments received. I had a few phone calls, inquiries, but it was mostly explaining the nature of the proposal. There wasn't too much commentary on whether it was a good proposal or a bad proposal. Some questions have come up, though, regarding servicing. If the rezoning application is approved, a traffic assessment would be required. As the developer explained earlier tonight, there was a traffic assessment done, but that was for single detached dwellings, not for multifamily. So this will have to be redone. That's typically a component of the subdivision and in some cases the development permit process. It's not normally associated with rezoning. At this point, all we need to determine is, can the buildings as proposed by the developer be serviced? So we have a arterial road on the west and a collector road to the south. So the answer is yes. A traffic engineer will have to come up with what is the best way of doing it. And there's a variety of options that a traffic engineering specialist can come up with. Potable water, city engineering is of the opinion that there is enough water to support the area. And those mains are in the Wellick Road right of way. Sanitary, before this proposal was made, the provision was that there was enough sanitary capacity to accommodate all of the undeveloped areas on Hawke's Bay, the city-owned lands on the south side of Wellick, and the first 25 lots on the north side of Wellick Road. Since then, we've had a long-term care home and what have you being proposed. And engineering is looking at how to best deal with that situation as part of that application, and I can deal with this as well. One of the other factors in here is that instead of 25 units, if two 12-unit buildings were built, that's 24. So we're of the opinion that there's enough capacity for sanitary with the existing infrastructure here. That being kept in mind, though, that doesn't say that there would be sufficient capacity for single detached dwellings on lot 8 through 25 unless something happens with our existing infrastructure, which is planned for the next year or so. Stormwater, as provided in the attached sketch, there is going to be a fair amount of the property that's going to be an impermeable surface. There is going to be a certain amount that will be permeable. There'll be landscaping and what have you. That said, as soon as over 45–50% of a property becomes impermeable, it automatically, under our civil engineering requirements, triggers a need for a stormwater assessment. In this case, there is provision under the existing design for a dry pond, stormwater pond directly north of these first 7 lots, and a wet pond to the east of these 7 lots. So the question there again is, can this be serviced for stormwater? The answer is yes. What is the best way to service it for stormwater? That is something that a hydrologist engineer will have to determine, again, typically part of the subdivision and/or development process. Franchise utilities, that's the responsibility of the developer, and the developers dealt with that. Franchise operators, Sask Power, Sask Energy, SaskTel, they're referred as part of our normal process on subdivisions. So when the subdivision comes in, there will be comments received from them detailing what, if any, enhancements may be needed to service these properties. Front yard setbacks, the amended proposal includes a request to reduce the front yard setback from 7.5 to 5.0 meters from the south property line. In practical terms, this provides for a larger rear yard, which most likely will be used for a combination of amenity space, parking, and landscaping. In terms of considerations, higher density development such as row housing, if this was a blank slate, this area, is something that I would be proposing to any developer coming in. General thrust of the official community plan is to have higher density residential development along our collector and arterial roads. Got a bit of a hiccup here in a way because that development was 15 years ago, right? And things can change during that time. The one thing I did not mention in the first hearing, the south side of Wellick Road is the outer edge of the built-up part of the city. Customer demands, market directions change over the years, in this case 15 years. So it's not uncommon for developers to propose changes nowadays to a design that was made in 2010 originally. That said, a normal expectation is that future developers will undertake reasonable measures to make sure that the newer development is compatible and not detrimental to the existing development in that area. And that is something that council, with our support on the technical side, will have to determine. Relaxation of the front yard along a block is a measure that is encouraged in the current zoning bylaw and also discussed to a certain extent in the official community plan. Implementation of this kind of a design work has been known to have a number of benefits. First of all, like if it was single detached residential and this happened, you would have a larger space in the rear of your lot for doing your activities without having to make the lot larger. The front of the lot, having the house a little bit closer, in this case a proposed apartment block a little closer to the Wellick Road, can help in other areas. One is social interaction. I first came across this in around 2008. It was a study from University of British Columbia, I believe, and there's other universities that did similar things. And they found out that there was a sort of like a sweet spot. If you are like 25 feet away from the sidewalk, you might not pay much attention to pedestrians walking back and forth, but once you get down 18 feet, 16, 15 feet, you start to pay a lot more attention, and including making direct eye contact. Promotes social interaction, and also makes people a little less prone to break into cars parked on the road if that happens. And I've seen a number of subdivisions that in different communities that have been done along that model, and from myself and my experience, I think they looks pretty good. The one caveat on that is if you do that, it can't be a singular thing, or else you wind up with like a jigsaw motion. It should be a longer frontage where you do that, so it doesn't look too out of place. Most, if not all, the engineering reports that are discussed, and so one or two of them is highlighted in the submissions that came in earlier today, are more appropriately done through the subdivision and/or development permit process. For this particular hearing, following the hearing, council has several options that they could consider. One is that it could approve the proposed bylaw with none, all, or some of the amendments that have been proposed by the developer. Number two, council could implement option number one with further amendments, provided the subject to the amendment is minor in scope. Just so council's aware, the term minor in scope is not defined under the Planning and Development Act. So you have to be reasonable with that. And number three, council, if they want, could deny passage of the proposed bylaw, which in that case, the zoning of the land would remain in its current form. Land Development Services recommends council consider advancing the proposed bylaw with additional readings, including each of the proposed amendments as provided to council. And with that, Your Worship, I'm here to answer any questions that anyone may have.
Okay. Any questions, comments at this time? Councilor Vrobet.
I don't see any sidewalks anywhere around this development. Is there going to be any sidewalks on the west side or the south side of it?
Sidewalks would be part of the servicing agreement, which would be part of subdivision or development. The west side, a sidewalk that could possibly be put in, that would be over the long-term or continuation of the pathway network. The long-term plan for the pathway was to have a path going up Sister Roddy Road and then cross through the north part of the cemetery. What was the other direction?
The front.
And out the front, yes, definitely that would be a given, I would expect.
But because
There's sidewalks in place already on both sides of well.
So they're the front, the setback, like where you're saying we're going to allow the setback, whatever, it's actually just closer to the existing sidewalk.
Right.
The sidewalks are sometimes flush with the property boundaries, sometimes they're inset. So the,
Yeah,
I don't know if I have the air photo here, but it is possible that the north edge of the sidewalk is, say, like even like a half a meter south of the actual property line.
Okay, no, 100%.
But I would agree, I think this direction you're going, it would not be a great idea not to have proper pedestrian access to a development of this nature.
Well, and just to make sure that if this does proceed, that they are taking the pathway into consideration. Yeah.
I can also, Your Worship, subdivision in this case would be, if this were to be approved, subdivision is council approval. And historically, any kind of a service agreement, unless it's something like just putting a culvert in temporarily for a road thing, that is also a negotiated agreement which requires city clerk and mayor's signature. So that will be another opportunity for council to look at it. The agreement, we revised our draft wording for it right now. It's a lot more robust than what was used historically, and that will be, you know, a recommendation jointly from myself and our civil engineer.
And so there are trees and there are green areas, green spaces behind the parking lot here. is that also part, or could they just do the parking lot and then leave the rest dirt for future development?
The approach that I've taken with large-scale developments like this under the 2022 bylaw is to require a landscaping plan to be implemented. And we have in the past, we've done it already once, and we require a fairly substantial security deposit to make sure it's done.
Okay, so that the appropriate trees and et cetera are planted?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Johnson?
Yeah, Mayor Cernick. Just a question. I think we've talked about it once before, Richard, but garbage removal. I was a little bit concerned about how garbage removal for these tenants in this multifamily housing unit would be. Now that we have all of this GFL pickup with the bins and that, how is that going to be handled should this multifamily proposal go forward? That's something to think about. I think they're going to have their hands full trying to look at that or try to address that, but that's something that's always out there. You're bringing in a big heavy truck on new pavement in the back when there's cars parked around, and you got all those dumpsters back there and things like that, and he has to make them readily available on that day. We have recycling, we have garbage pickup. I don't know how they're going to do it, but anyway, that's something to be considered. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Mayor Cerny.
Okay. Any other questions, comments out there? Oh, Councillor Dubowski, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I have a question regarding a lot of concerns about parking. So hypothetically, if this process goes through and continues, where along the line would something like painting curbs yellow to make sure people don't park there, where would that come in the process of all this?
That would, thank you, Your Worship, through to Councillor Dubowski. That would typically be part of the servicing agreement, and if it is raised as an issue at that time, that is also something that we can actually consult with the traffic committee, Your Worship, that you and I are both a member of, and to get recommendations. There's also the ability to assess parking issues as time goes by. So if there, for example, was no parking restrictions other than what we normally have in our bylaw, I believe for residential is 24 hours the vehicle has to move, 2 hours for commercial, if I remember correctly. That can always be examined if there are issues raised.
Yep. Good. Councillor Dubowski?
Thanks, that's it.
Okay. Any questions, more questions, comments out there? Seeing none, do we have a motion to send this to public hearing? The proposed revisions. Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Varoba. Questions or comments are kind of done. All in favor? Up next, public hearing. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, she's still. She's still up there. Yeah. You betcha. So land development, amended zoning, North Wellick Road development proposal. This hearing will be conducted in the following manner. Each person will be allowed to speak, given 10 minutes. Before speaking, give us your full name, community you live in. Council members will be given the opportunity to ask presenters questions. Under consideration of Land Development Bylaw 2025-2099 to regulate zoning on North Wellick Road. Is there anyone in the gallery who wishes to address Council on the proposed Land Development Services report on regulating use of land on North Wellick Road development? Come on up. I could probably guess Mr. Corey Casemore, Estevan. I was just trying to be funny. Just guessing your name, obviously. Go ahead, sir. Sorry.
Hi there, my name's Corey Casemore. I'm from Estevan, Saskatchewan, and I'm here on behalf of the community just to bring up a few key points. So in the presentation, which I appreciated a slightly more detail in what was presented, it was hard to see on the screen there, but I would like to just remind council that the presenter did not provide any opportunity for community engagement on what their new proposed plan was. I understand that they were probably in a pinch to try and get to this next council meeting. In all fairness, if the timeline for this is pushed off until 2026 building season, there could have been an opportunity to schedule another community engagement just to get some feedback. And I think that's a really integral and important piece to get. I know that I spoke here last time, and I know that they did do one community engagement, and there was some feedback. But I don't think that there was the opportunity for the community to understand what they were doing outside of what was provided to City Council already. And I think that's a fair consideration in your decision. Secondly, the Council's job is to review this rezoning on the merit as it is within the bylaws and the official community plan. And I found it troubling because I was corrected. I shouldn't say corrected. I was stopped in the conversation about valuation, because the valuation of a property is not to be considered when considering the rezoning of that property. And in the presentation today, it was brought up through a Facebook feed, which I've seen, that the overwhelming support was for under $300,000 homes. I would like to remind council that that isn't an appropriate factor to consider when considering this rezoning, that it is based on what is appropriate for the land. Richard, the land development officer, laid out quite clearly the considerations, and I think he did a good job of doing that. But I think that needs to be removed from any discussion points regarding that property rezoning. Another point that I'd like to bring up is that this seems to be more of a spot zone now, where the development's been redacted, which I understand where it lines up within the community, but it's been more of a spot zoning. And what I have not been shown, and this is part of that community engagement piece, is that what is the overall plan of that community going to be now? What are they going to do? What is their plan? And they haven't provided anything there. It seems as though they have access to that full lot of land that they will help develop, or a good portion of it. So if we're changing the layout, what does that layout look like? What are we going to do? Or they, I should say. And I think that's also another important key factor to consider. So ultimately, I understand that there is going to be a requirement for a traffic assessment and whatnot, but I really do hope that council considers these key points. At this point, I don't have much other things to bring up.
Okay. Any questions, comments from Mr. Casemore? Councillor Elliott?
Thanks for coming back and presenting again, by the way. They did mention that the remainder of the lots that were already serviced would, in their minds, remain as R1, that they weren't going to come back and ask for any more rezoning.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of thought maybe I'd just get your opinion. Do you not find it more amenable for them to use the already serviced lots, just those first 7, and then from there take it straight north into what had already been R4, just to give them, I guess, give them a starting point, but not giving them the entire face of Wellick? Isn't that a better option? I just thought I'd ask that.
Well, when considering options, to me, it's not about giving them a head start or allowing them to have a certain plot of land to build a couple of units. It's about continuity within the community. And at this, while I do appreciate that they've scaled it back, I still don't feel like it's meeting the overall community the overall community, I'm lost for words, sorry. I don't know if it's a layout, but it's not meeting the community appearance. Now, that being said, what I'm trying to say is that we're putting 2 units now, so that's a spot zone. Where it's a smaller condensed section of land. It's going to be 2 apartment buildings, so then next to it, there will be potential for single detached homes. Is there going to be people that will want to build right there? Is there going to be I don't know, a right-of-way where there's a certain amount of land where it won't have buildings? I'm thinking of when you come onto Newcomb Drive off of King, there's those townhouses, then there's a bit of a space, and then there's the single detached homes, right? What I'm really trying to say is, typically, from my understanding, when these changes happen, they're going to provide a detailed layout of what the rest of the development is going to look like because they're changing it. We haven't seen that. And I think that's an important part of the community engagement.
Okay. Councillor Elliott?
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you for that response. I actually do agree with you, but having, of course, not having been on council before, I had no idea what the community plan was for that area. And it looked pretty, but then unless we start getting some really big industries here, it had a whole lot of housing that was going to be built that I don't know who was going to live there. To be frank, I mean, I think now we do have to, I'm with you. I would prefer most of Wellick to be all single family homes. I don't have an issue with, like, personally, obviously, because you heard my comments earlier, with them having a couple of apartment blocks across from the water building there and continuing north with those. But I think we have to reevaluate that old plan because I don't think it was very realistic. I think we would, this city would look a bit idiotic if we said you guys have to be a quarter mile to the north of Wellick just because. So I think what we've got here is a good compromise, and I would never want them to go farther east with it. But I think you and I'll just probably disagree on that.
No, I think we're not in disagreement. I think what we're in agreement on is that
the plan
there hasn't been a plan provided,
right.
And that's what I'm saying. Would I like to see them put the apartment blocks where they were already zoned? I do, but I'm also not naive enough to know that plans do change.
Yeah.
And we haven't been provided a detailed plan of what that plan will be, right? Because there was a proposed trailer court there as well. There was higher density along some of the more one of the more main artery roads within the development. If you're changing some of that now, it's smaller scale, obviously, but the simple fact still remains that there should still be, what does this community plan look, or what is this community going to look like moving forward?
That's fair. And so I guess that's something that we need to look at in the months ahead.
Yeah.
How we want to continue that forward.
So I guess the question there becomes, wouldn't it make more sense for them to come back with that information before a council can actually vote on this? I would agree that it would.
Well, in that they're asking for a rezoning so that they can change, I guess, what the original plan was, to have a complete plan for the entire neighborhood. Based on the cost of building, I think that what anybody expects of that neighborhood is going to be a lot different. It's not going to be like the homes on the south side.
I appreciate what you're saying about the homes, because that gives me an opportunity to come back to what I actually forgot to mention. We are relying, so the cost of homes was brought up by the developer, not me. And the cost to build a home, while it is the developer bringing some information, this should actually be that should actually be provided from a third party that isn't a part of that developer. Like that information we should be able to receive from them. And frankly, there's houses being built in almost every community. Estevan is not immune to having homes built. That area has not had signage up for a very long time. It hasn't been maintained well and has not been advertised well to be able to, for people to purchase. The last part is, because we're bringing prices up, the value that they were asking, maybe they needed to consider an price adjustment, regardless of what their finances, or what their financial situation is. The market was telling them different.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Mr. Casemore? Seeing none, thank you for coming in tonight.
Thank you for your time.
Do we have anyone else in the gallery wishing to speak on this matter? That was second call. I guess nobody came forward. City Clerk? His Worship the Mayor, there is no one present in the gallery who wishes to address council on this matter, so the public hearing would be closed, correct? Do I need to hit the gavel for that?
No.
All right, thank everyone for coming in. What is the wish of council? If I could make a motion.
So we're looking for a motion, like, to go to second?
And obviously, this sounds like there's some time with the developer, little public consultation. Do we need a second reading to send it to public consultation?
No. You can just make a motion.
Okay, do we have a motion out there? Councilor Verova?
I'd like to make a motion that we table this and we give them a chance to have more community engagement. I think that everybody that I have spoken to is still not on board with this. And I know that right now we could push this through and make it happen. However, like I said, and I've said it to people I've been talking to, when I was asked to be elected to City Council, I said I wanted to be sitting here to be the voice of the people. And I have only spoken to one person so far who is 100% in agreement with this project as proposed. So I think because we're already talking, this is moving forward to 2026, I don't see the harm in asking the developer to have community engagement to figure out how this is going to look moving forward. Yeah, are we still going to have, like, again, we have our community plan. If you go on the Essex development, you can see the whole entire development, how it was supposed to look with the 25 homes, with the R4 in the back. Could we not have another design that's going to show exactly what the proposal is, what the phases are, when it's projected to be able to do that? So I would make the recommendation, or the motion, that we table it for now and ask them to go into more community engagement.
Okay. Do we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Dabowski. Questions, comments? All in favor?
Everybody's in favor.
That'll be up to the developer to hold their public consultation, and then after that, it'll come back to council for second and third readings. Whatever that may be. We're good? Everybody is in favor, I do believe? Okay. Carried. Up next, Councilor Verleeser. Thank you for that.
Now she can come in.
Hello again. Number 7, giving notice, United Way application for proclamation. United Way Estevan will be holding their 49th telethon October 17th and 18th. The goal this year is to raise $360,049, which will be distributed throughout the community. Agencies looking forward to holding the telethon, the entire community, at the Estevan Legion Hall. United Way Estevan asks that the week of our annual telethon, October 12th to the 18th, be proclaimed United Way Estevan Week, and that the United Way flag be flown at City Hall. Do we have a motion for this proclamation? Councillor Verleeser, seconded by Councillor Johnson.
Yes.
Questions, comments? Seeing none out there, all in favor? There you go, United Way. Up next, did we have anything on the brain boogie?
No, we don't. Just you were going to announce it.
Okay, I'll just announce it there. You see the shirt on display in front of us. The Brain Boogie will be at the Woodlawn Regional Park. The actual will be at the Fresh Air Fitness this Saturday, September 13th, 10 a.m. Get out to support that. Consideration of bylaws, we don't have to do that now. We are inquiries. Councillor Broba.
Thank you, Your Worship. So I have a couple. First one is Saturday, September 13th. There will be a Ripple of Kindness event being held. It's part of the Community Wellness Committee. There will be painting of rocks and creating cards. It's going to be held on Saturday, September 13th from 1 to 3 p.m. Everyone is welcome. It's a free event. So come on out and enjoy. Bring your family. Also, I had on September 16th, Community Wellness will also be having their monthly game night, but moving forward for the rest of this year, we have partnered with the Estevan Market Mall, and we will be hosting them in the food court. So the food court is not open, but come and become familiar with the food court. And yeah, Sir's Family Pharmacy does actually sponsor this event and provide refreshments and treats, so that's nice. But you're also welcome to bring your own, and then also you can bring your own board game, but again, we have some there, so don't be shy, just come out and check it out. The other thing, more serious note too, is a property on Eva Street was asked about. It is abandoned in the opinion of the neighbors, and so basically the question is, we talk about different areas of the town, we talk about beautification, but then we allow certain homes to just lay dormant. And they're being allowed, from what I can tell, because the taxes are paid. So that's something I think we need to look into, maybe through bylaw, maybe just where we can look in, and maybe even talk to the people that own these. Some of the, I'm not speaking specifically about this one on Eva, but I know that there was one property in Hillcrest that was kind of abandoned because it was in kind of a limbo stage of where it is. But I just think the city needs to start, we need to all start looking at our neighborhoods, seeing which community, which homes are looking like they're abandoned, and then figuring out what we can do about them, if any. So that's my inquiries.
Councillor Mouse.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I'd just like to say that the Southeast Tech Hub is hosting the second Rural Innovation Conference on September 23rd and 24th at Affinity Place. There'll be a Rural Innovation exhibit, and a Saskatchewan-wide rural pitch competition for anyone who wants to pitch their innovative new projects. There are also keynote speakers from MIT, from GE Hitachi, and many others. And you can contact Southeast Tech Hub in Estevan about that. That's on the September 23rd and 24th. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. Councillor Elliott.
Nothing, Your Worship.
City Treasurer.
Nothing, Your Worship.
One of these times you're going to have some. Assistant Clerk Josh.
Nothing, Your Worship.
Councillor Dabowski.
Yeah, I've got one thing here. On the 21st of this month, the Estevan Art Gallery Museum is hosting a fall festival fundraiser. So that'll be the 21st at 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. At the Art Gallery on 4th Street. And entries, $2 per single, $5 per family. There should be hot dogs, craft vendors, and all various sorts of fun fall things. So yeah, come check that out.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Councillor Johnson.
I have a few this evening, and I'd like to mention, just with St. Joseph's Hospital, the foundation update for the MRI project. We're 96% on the way to our $6.5 million goal, and we're sitting at right now $6,229,779. I'd like to thank the local RMs that surround Estevan. I'd like to also thank the local businesses that have been donating to this worthy cause in Estevan. Some personal thanks goes out to certain individuals in our community for standing tall and donating heavily to the MRI Foundation and helping us out. I'd like to mention that They're going to be sharing all the knowledge with the new MRI at one of the Chamber of Commerce events that's hosted early in the morning with the downtown business. Coffee, I believe, at 8 o'clock in the morning is coming in the near future. And so we'll have more information and more news on that. We've signed a lot of agreements with some sound contractors, some worthy manufacturers in order to bring this project into Estevan, and it sounds like construction's going to be starting on that project this fall. And that's going to be great, and it's going to be up and running next spring here early. So I'd like to mention that, and I'd like to really thank all of the local business and any kind of organization. They've even been donating, oil companies, you name it. Festival of Trees, classic example of the fundraising. So on that, the other question I do have, I'd like to get from our city treasurer or city manager as we enter into the Q3, I'm going to say phase of the year of 2025, where we're sitting financially, Judy. You know, I don't need 100 pages. I just need one page. I need one page of where we're sitting on budget, Jeff. I need what projects aren't. I asked Matt tonight what projects might be carried forward, where we're going, which ones, like the Hillcrest Play Park, if that shack's not going to be done, update us.
That's that.
No Hillcrest, we're doing that one too. The shack, the roof, and that, and the electrical over there. I know that the pool is in over at Hillside Park, and that, and just kind of give us a little a preview. It's going to help us out a lot going forward. And then that would be my inquiry to this evening to financial and to city manager. And I guess my other inquiry, and I think it's a long time overdue, is I see these garage sale signs. Help me out. I mean, we get a new transformer in town, and the next thing you know, we're plastering it with garage sale signs, and we're not taking them off. They're leaving them up, they're leaving them on. It looks horrific, you guys. It looks terrible. Any kind of utility structure, you beat Sastel, the end of King Street, that one's been up for over a week and a half now. It looks trashy. We're trying to make our city look beautiful. We're talking about yards that don't look good. We're allowing this to happen. Now, we went to the TD SUMA convention, and when we walked outside on that corner, there was a billboard there where you can post things. Do we need to be thinking about having a community billboard? We had them in Estevan at one time on the mall lot. Do we need to put a few up and around the community in order for garage sale people to post their signs effectively so they don't look so dumpy and trashy around the neighborhood? I think it's high time. I think these transformers, they might need a wrap. They might need something on. So other communities have done that. It looks beautiful. Maybe it's something we can talk to with the Arts Council. I don't know. But anyway, those are my inquiries, and I'd like some feedback from some of the groups, and you can even send it to the who looks after bylaw control. Get his input back, because I know that's listed in bylaw control. City manager, thank you very much. That's it.
Excellent. We'll look into those. Thank you for that. Councillor Leeser.
Thank you, Your Worship. Tonight, my question is, knowing Council's main purpose is to provide leadership and set policy that ensures good governance for the citizens of Estevan, and furthermore, it's the responsibility of Council to provide the long-term planning for the city as an organization and the community as a whole, when will this Council act to meet this requirement? I make the motion the city manager be asked to first arrange for a long-term strategic planning session with all council in October, and second, make arrangements for online and in-person community engagement with the proposed plan in November. In this way, we can act on the shared strategic plan during the December 15th budget meeting.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Roba? Councillor Dabowski is gone. Any questions, comments on that? So it'd be Councillor Elliott.
Just a question, shared strategic plan, are you talking about in relation to the budget or to?
The strategic plan is a set of priorities that council creates with the community and then shares back to the community so that as we make decisions, we're both transparent with what our plan long-term is, but we can also be held accountable to the community knowing that we're taking strategic steps towards these longer-term goals. And I would like to see that done before this council passes their second budget.
Councillor Johnson?
Can I ask a question about the strategic planning? And has other cities that you know of, Councillor Walliser, taken this on? And can you share with us that so that we can either educate ourselves so we can see what we're up against and we're getting involved in and how it's working, I guess, please?
Certainly. The City of Estevan's most recent strategic plan was 2021. It was an itemized list that was even available for the community to check off as these longer-term projects were completed, including things like the Pathway Project, downtown revitalization. It's a really good tool to show that council is not losing their way as projects pop up, but that there's a thoughtful, strategic manner that decisions are being made in, and especially when there are competing priorities, that focus is shared. The town of Cornack, with their new council, has already done the strategic plan and submitted it out to the community, as have many other councils that were elected back in November of 2024.
So, Mayor Cernick, along with that, you can have a 1-year, 5-year, 10-year strategic plan. And that's basically sharing that information. I think we were asked that at budget time. We were down there. We knew a little bit, or some of us might have known a little bit about what's down that line for things that we want to do and big costs attached to them. Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Any other questions, comments out there? All in favor? Carried. More work. Inquiries? City manager? Nothing? City clerk? Yeah, I just, like I said, seeing the brain boogie there. School's back in session, council's back in session, summer's over. I have a motion to move into committee. Councillor Elliott? Councillor Johnson? All in favor? Carried.
If you'd like to share your feedback on the program you just watched, contact us today